Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Happy Wednesday. There is really nothing like that first hot sip of coffee. Still on decaf, but still love the ritual nonetheless, for sure. Part of almost every single day. And this is extra good today for some reason. It's because I'm in my Hair Color Secrets Insider mug. This is my favorite mug. It's got a little turquoise in the middle and white and colorful logo on the outside. Oh, I can't even tell you how long it took me to settle on that logo. I drove myself absolutely insane. It's so funny, the things that we get so caught up in that we think are so important in our business. I remember stressing so much over the logo of the new business, stressed myself over the logo of my salon. And honestly, in retrospect, no one really cares. It's about the quality of the service that you provide, and not about the logo at all. I mean, it all helps. Look at Nike with their swoosh. I think they paid millions of dollars just for that swoosh. So it does matter, but I think we give it way too much credit for the success or failure of our business. My voice is not awake yet. So today's topic is selfies and self-love. I see my friend Johnny is joining us this morning. So I went to see Johnny and I said, give me every crazy wig that you have. I'm going to Selfie World in Tampa. And he, of course, cracked up. I am 55 years old and I drove 40 minutes to meet a new friend at a selfie world in Tampa in the mall. Am I a teenager going out for someone's bat mitzvah? This friend is someone that I met through another uncomfortable photo shoot. So I'll back up. So I shared with you that I did a branding shoot with a new photography company and I had a really good experience. It was at an Airbnb in Tampa. When I was driving there, I was like, this could be an axe murderer that put an advertisement out and is having a bunch of women show up in this house that we don't know where we are, and we could all just be sold into sex slavery. But it all went well, thank God. It was legit, and I got some really great pictures. But what even better happened was I met two new friends, two women that are entrepreneurs that are in my age range, that live close by to where that event was, that I can now be friends with. And we all have the same things in common as far as our business. So this woman reached out and said, hey, I haven't done any photos since we met at that event. Do you want to get together? I found this place where they have all different kinds of backgrounds and we can do some branding shoots. And I've been struggling with trying to go on TikTok and do Instagram Reels because I feel like, I don't want to say too old because you're never too old for anything, but my kids laugh at me. They're like, oh my gosh, you're like doing selfies. So it was uncomfortable. Let's just say that. Very uncomfortable. So I said, you know what? Why not? I'll do it. It was $20 to go and you had an hour and they have all these different booths with all different backgrounds. And it's interesting because always the day before I get so much anxiety about pictures. I'm like, do I like my hair color? Do I need to bleach my teeth? Are my nails done? Are my legs hairy? Do I have to shave my legs? Is it even going to show if I don't shave my legs? Like, we have all this anxiety about our looks, first of all. And then it's that posing in front of someone else discomfort. When someone's looking at you from the other side of the lens, it's like you don't want to be extra and be all like, but you want the picture to turn out well. So she went first. Instead of doing selfies like the teenagers, we decided we'll take each other's photo. So she went first and I'm taking her picture. And I know what it's like to be on the other side of the camera. So I was saying, like, lean forward a little bit, pick up your chin, turn your head a little bit sideways. That background I don't like, move over a little bit. I was giving her the direction that I would want from a photographer because you don't see yourself, right? You don't see that for me, it's always my belly is not in a flattering, it's not a flattering angle to my belly or my chin or whatever. So I was helping her along and telling her what angles look good and, let's move the light up a little further. No, the ring light showing in your glasses. Let's move that. So I was surprised at what I knew to do for her. And then when it came time for me, she was not a good photographer. She pushed the button. She thought she was doing video and she wasn't. So it's me just like in these weird in between because it was supposed to be video. Not a flattering angle at all. Putting her finger in front of the lens, all of the things. So when I was getting ready, I'm choosing my clothing, and my daughter was here, and she was like, we went together to look at and see what the backgrounds were. So she said, you know what, Mom? You never go crazy with color. You always are very conservative with your clothes. Like, look at this shirt. It's like, is it pink? Is it nude? Is it tan? What is it? It's a non-committal color. So she's like, put some bright, you're a colorful journey. You're a color expert. You teach color, like have some color. So I bought these hot pink pants way back for a hair show. I never ended up wearing them. And I think because I never really found the right shirt to go with them. Of course, always working around the belly. So I went on Amazon and ordered this electric orange shirt, which I would never wear in a bajillion years in real life. And then I went and ordered this electric blue blazer that I would never wear in a million years in life. So I have hot pink pants, a bright orange shirt, and a bright, I don't even know, royal blue jacket. And I put them all together. And my husband's like, are you okay? Like when I was packing my stuff, he's like, are you really wearing that? And I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone. So we got there and, I'm taking her picture and I'm in a black dress. So I take a couple pictures of me in what I'm wearing, just comfortable, invisible black, right? Just hairdresser black. And the pictures are just okay. And I was like, you know what? I just drove 45 minutes to get here. I am not worried about what she thinks on the other side of the camera. I'm not worried about what the lady that runs the selfie place thinks. I'm just going to have fun with this. And I'm just going to start just being relaxed. And I'm going to do my own thing. They give you these little remotes, which I have to buy. It was great. It's a little plastic. It couldn't be more than $10. And it was a remote to use with your camera on a tripod where you can take your own picture. So they were playing music and I started having fun and dancing. And my favorite pictures and video were of me doing it myself because I wasn't worried about what anyone else was thinking because nobody was looking. And of course, they turned out great, but the neon sign behind me, everything is backwards because it was on selfie mode. So that is where I needed her to do my picture. And as soon as she came over and did it, I wasn't having as much fun. I didn't like the pictures as much. I didn't like the video as much because the self-consciousness clicks in and you don't act as silly and you're not as loose and as fun. So that was the lesson of yesterday was, let loose. Who cares? Who's watching? Dance like nobody's watching. You've heard that phrase. And, you can have a lot of fun with it. So I plan to go back alone next time. And I plan to have even more fun with that little clicker remote and just see what happens. But it's putting yourself in that position for the first time of walking in there at 55. She's 62. I'm 55. So we went to lunch first. And we were talking about what it is that she does. And she was explaining that she teaches biohacking your body. And I'm sure you've heard of like bulletproof coffee and all of these things that you can do to reverse the signs of aging, which at 55, I'm leaning all in. I'm very interested in that conversation. So we started talking about, self-care, self-love, all of those things. And this past week, I've come to the realization that I need to have more fun and to have more hobbies. I am all work and no play, and my kids and my husband get on me all of the time. I shared with you when we were in Maine, I was freaking out a little bit because I promised that I wasn't going to work. By day 3, I was at a coffee shop to get Wi-Fi to work, and I was happy as a clam. So I'm in this mastermind group, and I shared with my group that, it's not normal to be on vacation and to be freaking out that you can't work. And to which they answered, I thought they were going to be like, yes, stop working, totally unwind, unplug, force yourself to read a cheesy romance novel, book about nothing. My goal for the trip was to read a book that was not self-help or business. My entire bookshelf here in my office is What is Your Why? Crush It. What's that one say? Content Inc. Expert Secrets. Iconic. It's all business. Atomic Habits. Every top business and self-help book you can imagine is on my shelf and read already. So I've done enough work in that area, but I haven't had enough just reading about, 50 Shades of Grey novel, like just a trashy, sexy novel about nothing. So Not only do I not ever do it, I didn't have a single book I could bring with me because I don't buy them because I still have business books that I need to get through. So that was lesson number one. I didn't even have a book that I could read if I wanted to. And I did not do it. I was there for an entire week and I didn't read anything. So I was disappointed in myself. So I need to carve out time in my schedule as if it's an appointment, as important as a client getting their color done. I was talking to Vivian McKinder this week. We did a podcast interview that was really good. It's coming up, so you want to make sure you listen to it. And she shared with me that she feels the same way. She's, reached every single milestone she's ever wanted to reach in her career. She got the Lifetime Achievement Award from NAHA. And she said, Elaine, where do you go from there? I reached the Lifetime Achievement Award. Where do I go from here? What milestone can I possibly look for? So she's starting to look outside of our industry for other coaching and other things that she can reach goals with, because you always have to have some sort of goal and passion, right? So it was interesting because we talked about achievement and awards and acknowledgement and all of those things that we work so hard for. And then when you get to the end, I shouldn't say the end, she's still very active in the industry, but when you get to that level of like, I'm really, doing great things, it's almost like, well, there's nothing left to strive for. Now what is my purpose? So she's like, I love my horse. I pencil in time every single day to be with my horse. I do yoga and meditation every morning. Then I spend time with my horse. Then I carve out time for work. So she's flipping it where work is still there, but it's a flip of me time versus work time. So I'm going to pay attention to that because she's further ahead of me. And I've seen other people in our industry kind of just fizzle out and burn out because they didn't feel relevant anymore. And it was like, why even bother? So I don't want to go there either. I'm really proud of the mentorship that I created because I want to leave behind a legacy for when I'm not so driven to create and do all these things, that will always be there for the newer stylists coming up. But right now where I am is it's August. So I was getting ready for what should be the third revival 2-day event. So we've done it the past 2 years. It's been successful. We've enjoyed doing it. Vivian has been part of it, Joe Blackwell, the Wilsons. We've had a great crew doing it and being excited about it. And I'm talking to Vivian and I said, Viv, I wanted to reach out because I'm just not feeling it this year. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that because I didn't want to say no to it. But she said, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I feel like people need something different. So her and I chatted about castles in France and really amazing vacations and experiences and all of the things. And we both agreed that we are at an age where we no longer want to do the typical hair show. We don't want to show up to IBS New York or Premiere Orlando or ISSE Long Beach or any of those shows and walk around and see all the same things, the thumping music, the fog machines, you'll see a couple decent classes where you get a couple little nuggets, but most of it is just shopping and loud music. And here I'm showing my age, but I'm like, there's got to be more to our industry and more to filling my cup than that. Let me turn my fan on. I'm getting so passionate, I'm sweating. Another part of being 55. I should always have the fan remote in my hand as a menopausal woman. So fan on demand. So I thought about it and I talked to Bryn and I said, how do you feel? And she's like, no, I'm kind of feeling the same way. She said, you have a great group in your Hair Color Secrets Insiders. You have the mentorship. You're providing tons of virtual education. I don't think that Revival is necessarily necessary this year to be even more education because you have all of that in your library already. So I was like, okay, well then what's next? Because I always have to have something that's what's next to keep driving me forward. So I said, I think that people are ready to be in person again, but they're not ready for the 3,000 people hair show where you have to worry about putting a mask on. COVID's rearing up again. But we do love to be together in smaller groups. So I started to look for locations to have a more intimate boutique-like environment and make it more of an emphasis on a retreat versus a hair show. And then you have people that say, well, I don't want to go to a retreat. I want to learn. I want education. So this is going to be the perfect blend of both, because I think both are really important. One of the most amazing events I've ever been to in my entire 35-year career was Beth and Carmine Minardi, when they were still married, hosted an event at Canyon Ranch. If you're not familiar with Canyon Ranch, it is a beautiful destination spa that teaches you about fueling your body better. They were the first to put the calories, unfortunately, the fat, the sodium, and the calories on their menu. So when you go to the restaurant, everything's included. And I was with my best friend, and we're sitting there looking at the menu, and I'm like, well, I know what I want. I go and pick what I want, and then I would look over at the calories, and everything that I picked was always the most calories you could possibly get at a destination spa, because they're very careful on what they put on the menu so that you lose weight. So that was an eye-opener for me. Accidentally, I was like, oh crap, no wonder I could never lose weight. I pick the worst thing on the menu for my health. So it was a lot of self-care, a lot of finding out things about yourself, like teaching you beginner meditation, all of those things that I would never have taken those classes on my own, but we were there and we had a certain amount included with our stay, and we had to pick from a menu of things. Then when it came to the education piece, it was Beth and Carmine Minardi. I had followed them everywhere for their beauty focus, and Beth always wowed me with color, and Carmine always wowed me with relaxing and cutting and perming and texture and all things business. So when I signed up for this, I was like, oh my gosh, massages and Beth and Carmine, like who would not come on this trip? There was 8 of us. There was only 8 of us on this trip. And that was on purpose. They wanted it to be very small and intimate. So our class time, we were in this beautiful room with those thick, leather, like you see on lawyer shows on TV, like those big, comfy chairs that are on wheels around a beautiful conference table with, beautiful crystal pitcher with sparkling ice cubes and lemon with lemon water. And we had crystal glasses. Everything was very upscale. And Beth and Carmine were at the head of the table, and we were all around the table, and we just had great conversation. It was just a conversation of a group of hairstylists who all have the same passion and love for the industry. And it was so off the cuff and casual. And we just had conversations about like where shifts need to happen, where's the state of the industry at the time. And this is years ago. This is pre-COVID, pre all the mess we have now, but just great conversation. And then because there were 8 of us, they paired us up into groups of 2. You had a partner, and you and the partner interviewed each other with a list of questions. So I had a male partner, and just say his name was John. So John and I had this conversation, and I interviewed him. And then the next day, John had to read off of the pad of the notes that I wrote. It was almost like, do you remember those Mad Libs where you had to fill in like adjective, noun, whatever? We had to fill in how they answered the interview. And then they stood up the next day and introduced themselves through the eyes of me, the person who wrote it for them. It was so amazing and such a simple thing, but it stuck with me. I'm talking, that was, my gosh, I was opening my second location. So it was literally like 21 years ago that I went on this trip. And I remember how it sounded to hear John introduce himself the way I saw him. And everybody was crying because you're seeing yourself in a totally different way, because you're answering and you're just like not even thinking about what you're saying, but it was put into almost like an autobiographical form. Like, hi, my name is Elaine and my hobbies are da, da, da. And at the time I remember saying, God, I don't have any hobbies. And that was 21 years ago. And here I am today telling you I still don't have any hobbies. So it's something I need to work on. So it's interesting that I went back there and I'm realizing that again. That was not planned, by the way. So this retreat, I want that to be for you. I want you to treat yourself to a weekend at the beach. It's called Beauty at the Beach, and it's here in sunny Florida. It's in Madeira Beach, so it's not in my town. I wanted to step out of my town. It's new for me. My usual retreats are in Clearwater for my members. This is not just Hair Color Secrets Insider members only. This is open to all of you. And it's going to be very much like my Canyon Ranch experience. Now, we're not doing spa treatments. You can absolutely do that on your own, but we're doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do on your own for yourself. So I started this chat by sharing about the self-consciousness of taking pictures and branding photos and all of that. So our VIP ticket level includes a branding photo shoot. And I promise it is the most painless way to get shots of yourself where you would never do this on your own. So great atmosphere, great photographer. They make it very easy. It's quick. It's over in 10 to 15 minutes. It's not like a whole day. So that's included in the VIP ticket. We're going to do a tiki boat ride. So when's the last time that you got on a thatched, hut roof boat with 5 other hairdressers to get out on the water and just have a conversation? So that's part of the VIP experience. We have an educator joining us that does energy work. So she's going to talk about how you can protect your energy behind the chair. When someone sits in our chair and they unload on us, we take on that energy and we don't have the tools or understand how to get rid of it, number one, once we soak it in. Number two, to protect ourselves before we get that client in our chair. So all kinds of energy tips and things like that. We have my amazing life coach coming to talk about, dig deep into finances and what your money story is and why you're preventing yourself from charging what you're worth. So that's just a little sampling of what we're going to do, and it's going to be amazing, if I say so myself. I'm excited to be an attendee. I would not miss it. We are capping it at 50 people. We want it to be intimate, and the individual sessions like the branding and the tiki boat and all that, that's all going to be smaller groups. And we're also going to be small group workshops where we're going to be at small tables of like probably 5 to 10 people doing other activities that are more intimate. So you tend to let loose and relax a little more when it's less people and you're not as self-conscious. So I'm really excited about it. I really believe that this is going to be an annual thing. I'm wrestling with whether to offer a virtual version of it, but I'm leaning towards no. And the reason is because we're doing this to get people back together in person and force people to be a little uncomfortable. And there's nothing uncomfortable about tuning into a virtual version of Alejandra talking about your money story. You've already seen that. That's already in the mentorship. But being in a room with other people and sharing in your individual stories and realizing you're not alone, there's something so powerful about that has to be in person. So I hope that you're listening and this is resonating with you, because this is something that I would be looking for right now if I was not creating it. I have been looking for it. I shared with you, several weeks ago or maybe a month ago about an amazing experience I had with an in-person retreat. And the best part of what I experienced was that I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I signed up for the retreat. I just knew that I needed it. So if you know you need something, and someone contacted me yesterday that was a member in my insider. She's like, I really miss you and I miss the group and I need to like up level in some way. And I'm going to visit my sister in Florida. Would you be around to do a class? And I said, absolutely. I do one-on-ones all the time. So she's going to come to see me for a one-on-one. And I said, isn't it amazing that you can now come to see your sister in Florida and you can pay for your flight and pay for your expenses knowing that it's an educational trip and it's part of something that you can write off on your taxes. So that's another perk of doing an event like this. It's self-care and self-love, and also benefits you in an income perspective, as it's important to your career. It's important to take care of yourself. Your body, your mind, your spirit is all so much as or more important than what you physically do, technique behind the chair. Of course, we're going to talk about hair color. Of course, we're going to talk about the business of it all, but it's going to be so much more than that and so different from any other event you've ever been to. And I promise you won't regret. I think you'll have more FOMO if you don't come, and will absolutely not regret it if you do come. So I opened it up to my Hair Color Secrets Insider group first. I wanted to make sure that they all had the opportunity to get a spot, because there's almost 300 of them. I opened it up to them first, and I said, I'm letting you guys know that if we don't sell out by this date, I'm opening it up to others. So That date is coming up. I think it's the end of this week that they have till, what is today's date? The 10th? Yeah, I think they have until the 15th to sign up, and then it's going to be open to everyone from the coffee chat, from the mentorship. Anyone that's in my world and likes my education is welcome to come. So I hope that you will join me, and I hope that you'll make an appointment at one of those cheesy selfie worlds. Do something different. There's a woman in my group that I belong to, the St. Pete Girl Boss group, has been such an amazing resource for me. And this woman spoke at our last coffee meetup, and what an inspiration. She has reinvented herself so many times career-wise that it's amazing. First she did this, and then she hit a wall, and then she did that, and then she was like, I'm not inspired anymore, and then she did this, and she's had all this success, multi-million-dollar companies. And she shared at the end of the coffee thing, she's like, I'm selling my home, I'm quitting my job, and I'm traveling for 3 weeks in Europe to figure out what I want to do next. Do I ever even want to own a home again? Do I want to buy an RV and just keep traveling all throughout the United States and just see the whole parts of the country I've never seen? What an inspiration. And doing it alone. She's single. So I'm like, wow, there really is a whole big world out there and so many different ways to live it. So if you're in the grind and you're waking up and you're, hitting snooze 4 million times and you're dreading doing what you're doing, it's time to shake it up and do some self-love, some self-care, and some selfies. You never know where that's going to lead you. So thanks for listening. Talk to you next week, same time, same place. Have a great rest of your week.